Hello, everyone. Welcome to Ceci Truman Live. This show will be starting in just a few moments, so stay tuned. And if you're seeing this on social media, please like, share, and follow. For more information, go to trumanforcongress.com. This show is brought to you by Ceci Truman. Here's Ceci.
Welcome, everyone. This is the premiere of the Ceci Truman live program. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. Today is January the 5th. Happy New Year's. And we are featuring a group called LUCA. It's an organization, and it stands for Latinos United Conservative Action. We're going to hear all about this organization and find out what they're about, what their mission statement is, their objective and goals. So please welcome everyone, Nicole Vicario and Daniel Silva.
Hi.
Hello, guys.
Hi,
Hello,
Ceci.
everybody.
How are you? Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for coming on. We are so excited. Absolutely. We are very excited to find out and share with the audience what LUCA, L-U-C-A, stands for Latinos United Conservative Action organization is all about. I know you all are based out of Texas, and you can fill us in on who the founders are, what the history of LUCA is, what your goals and objectives are. But maybe, Nicole, if you want to share with us the mission statement, that will kind of guide us or give us a good start.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's LUCA United for Conservative Action. It's Latinos United for Conservative Action, sorry. And so our mission statement is, our mission is to serve our community through our actions, informing the public of the impact our government and schools are having on their faith, their lives, and their children's lives as well. We educate the community about constitutional rights and freedoms, and we encourage them to take steps to protect their families and guard their values. Our goal is to utilize media, social media, and public events to share our mission, our culture, and spiritual beliefs with as many people as we can reach, and encourage members of all ethnicities to participate in our organization, to share in our culture as we work together to protect our God-given rights and freedoms as protected by the U.S. Constitution. And so that's our mission statement for LUCA. We want to educate the communities. So I am the executive director out of California, and originally the founders and co-founders were in Texas. That's where it started. Mm-hmm. And so we are planning to be in every state, working on getting the word about LUCA out there.
That is excellent. And we did speak yesterday. I got a lot of wonderful information, and I was very, very impressed, and I'll explain that later. But Daniel, why don't you share with us your role at LUCA, and anything you want to share with us?
My role with LUCA is that I'm the business relations director of LUCA right here in California. My job is to create relations with different candidates, with people, grow organization, create events, and spread the word out ultimately, because it's a battle out there, and we all need to be united in this conservative cause that we're in. And
exactly.
One of my main functions so far we're going through this process of endorsing candidates, finding candidates, recruiting candidates, and teaching every person about their constitutional rights. And I take pride in that.
And that's something that I think this generation has gotten away from, and we really need to race back to it, and that is to learn our Constitution. And what the Constitution says and what it means, and realize what a blessing and privilege it is to live in this country, and it is because of our constitutional freedoms. So, okay, so we'll get started. I know that we spoke yesterday, and we spoke about that you guys get involved on the school board level. You're also showing border awareness, which is I'm running for Congress, and I am a border candidate. And that is a very important topic, not just for my district in District 25, California, but the entire nation right now. And we've never seen such an influx of people crossing illegally. So that's something we'll discuss too. You guys get involved on the pro-life movement. You guys get involved on the homeschool advocacy levels, and you defend parental rights. Like Daniel said, you look for candidates that are truly conservative. You vet them. I actually had to fill out a questionnaire for the LUCA organization, and I was very, very impressed because you guys have such a biblical stance in what you look for in candidates. So also you stay on top of the bills that are being legislated currently and what is being proposed and what is being passed. And then you inform the communities on that. And then you also have boots on the ground. So you guys are organizing the ground for helping candidates and campaigns. So any topic that you guys want to discuss, I'm very open to hearing, your role, what you guys hope to accomplish and what you have accomplished already and what you guys are actively doing. So Nicole, can we start with you?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think, go ahead. You mentioned homeschooling, and I am a homeschool veteran mom myself. I homeschooled for 15 years, graduating all three of my sons. My youngest is 21, actually going to be 22 in just a few days from now. So I can't believe time goes by so quickly. But I do advocate for homeschooling as an option, a viable option for parents, especially now. There's no better time to save the soul of our children than right now. And so I'm very excited to hear what you guys, what your role is in the homeschooling movement.
I mean, our goal in the homeschooling movement is to I think a lot of parents are just scared to do that. They can't do it. I work full time. How can I teach my kid? I'm not a teacher. And so there's just a stigma about homeschooling, or, are my kids going to be weird? It's just, there's so many questions about homeschooling, right? And so as a homeschool mom myself, our plan is to educate the community that it is okay to homeschool. You can do it. There are options for you, even for full-time working parents. There are options for you to be able to homeschool your children, because ultimately it's us that needs to be teaching our children and not the public school system. The way the public school system is going right now, I highly recommend not having your child in public school, especially the younger kids, right? Because they're so influential. It's like they are sponges and they're taking in every single thing. And so if you are, planning on raising your children a certain way, then I don't think that public school is a one size fits all family. So we plan.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we do. We just plan to educate the community on what they can do and what steps they can take to homeschool their children.
I know that several years ago, when there was even a worse stigma, this was, late 90s, early 2000s. And I only knew about homeschooling through Focus on the Family. Dr. James Dobson, I listened to the radio every day, and I would hear every now and then he would talk about homeschooling. And I thought I was so interested. And I knew people from our church that we went to. These kids were amazing. They knew how to speak eye to eye with adults. They knew how to carry on adult conversations properly. They were so gifted in music many times. And it was, I really wanted that opportunity for my kids, or at least I wanted to try. When we finally did start homeschooling, well, there were a couple episodes that happened at the public school system that finally my husband said, okay, and he was worried too. Are my kids going to, be nerdy kids? That was, that was the stigma of the homeschooling. But, I tell people now, you know what, you've got every type of child, whether it's public school, private school, homeschool. It just depends on the family. It depends on the upbringing, what type of personality. So that's really a fallacy, that kids will not be socialized. And I always say there is socialization, and then there's proper socialization. And the best to our ability, we want to train our kids. The Bible does leave the responsibility to our parents, like you said, Nicole. That is our responsibility to train up the child in the way that they should go. And and biblically speaking, it's talking about that in the end they will not stray from the truth. So, what are your blessings, benefits, and challenges being a homeschool mom yourself? Did we lose Nicole? Nicole, I don't think your volume's on. I think we lost Nicole. Well, we can switch gears. Daniel, I think you and I spoke about the pro-life movement. What role does LUCA organization have in the pro-life movement?
Our stance, it's all right. Our stance on the pro-life movement is that is from conception. It's a soul, it's a conception in life. The Bible says that itself. So from conception to death, that's a life, that's a beautiful soul right there. And so our official stance at LUCA is to defend life at all costs. And right here in California, we have outrageous laws, abortion laws. If I'm not mistaken, I believe we have some of our laws is that they allow abortion up to 30 days after birth, and that's absurd. That's really absurd. I consider that murder ultimately, because it's a beating heart. It's a human soul. They're breathing, and they have ears, they have hands, they have fingers, and they're crying. But under the California system, that's still considered abortion. I'm 32. When I was growing up, I've always heard abortion was up to the first trimester, and somehow along the way, in the last 2 decades or so, it went all the way to where we are right now, which is 30 days after birth. To me, that's absurd.
Right, and that's why it's so important for the church to really start getting involved with. I don't like to call it politics. It's government. God created government, and politics is what man has corrupted. It is what it is. We have to engage, for even if just for that reason, the church should engage. And in California, I don't know if you guys are aware that there's 13.5 million church people, or I guess you want to label it Christian, and that 50% of that 13.5 are registered to vote. And that 50% or 25% of the 50% actually goes to vote in the generals. 10% go to vote in the primaries. And so we're losing the battle on our pro-life movement. And so I'm very adamant that the church has to rise up once again, and we need to engage and get activated in the right of life, because we've got a heartbeat law, right? The heartbeat law says that when there's no longer a heartbeat at the end of life, then the life is deceased, or it's no longer. Why don't we reverse that and say, well, when we hear a heartbeat at the beginning, that is life, right? What do you think of this?
I absolutely think so too. And just like you said, this is a spiritual battle that we're all going through right now, especially in the state of California. If our California pulpits would just speak out to the congregation, to the people that goes to church, we will have this great spiritual revival in the whole state of California. California used to be with missionaries, with the mission and stuff. It used to be part of God. I'm pretty sure. I feel like God wants California back.
Yeah.
And we need to wake up the pulpit to speak out the truth, to speak on behalf of life, to speak on behalf of marriage, to speak on behalf of what's good, and speak out against evil. Because right now the what the school systems are doing, they're getting in between the parents and the children, and they're indoctrinating these children at schools. And then all of a sudden these parents are thinking like, oh, I didn't raise this child. Well, because the school system changed the way how they think, they have a corrupted mind. And so with that being said, that's why LUCA, that we advocate for homeschooling.
Yeah.
Welcome
Wait,
back, Nicole. I'm glad
sorry.
back on.
There were some technical difficulties, but yeah, just to tell, what Danny was saying, the innocence of our children must be preserved, and that's really one of the biggest goals that we have here.
Yeah, amen to that. And there was a law. I mean, right now in California, we're witnessing complete lawlessness. We have laws on the books that we're not even enforcing, and not only that, Gavin Newsom and the legislators in California are decriminalizing. They're turning felonies into misdemeanors, letting pedophiles back out into the street. I mean, we used to have a law that you're not allowed, if you're a registered sex offender, you're not allowed 1,000 feet within a school district. But now we've actually got pedophiles that are teaching our children in the school districts. And so this is a problem, and parents need to be on high alert. And it is our job to protect the minds and hearts of our children. And like you said, Nicole, they need to be kept innocent. I mean, that's our job as parents.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that homeschool helps provide that as well. Everything that we see that's going on in the districts, and just the people that are teaching our kids, and the things that they're teaching them, and the fact that they're trying to erase, crucial history, and not teach them everything. These kids don't leave knowing the Bill of Rights, or knowing, what the Constitution is, and that's very important. And that they don't want our kids to know that, because they know that will create a powerful mind, and they don't want that. They want people that they can control, and that's why they're teaching them the way that they're teaching them right now, and they don't want parents involved. And so especially in our district that we're in right now, we actually touch base with districts all around California to get them on the same page. But we want, a parental notification policy to be in place in every single district in California, and basically just, nationwide as well. We want the same structure nationwide in every single state that protects parental rights and allows children to be children, and their innocence to be preserved, because we have a lot of perverted people and things going on in the classroom that should not be going on.
So in California, we have 13 what we would call blue states. We have 35 red states. It's the blue states, the Democratic run states, that are pushing this indoctrination for the most part on our children. You see it even in the red states. You see it in the big cities, like say you're in Texas, it's Dallas, Austin. There's a stronghold that the far leftists, we'll call them far leftists, they're trying to infiltrate the big cities. And even, what I'm seeing a lot in running for office, I'm seeing a lot of people that re-register. They're Democrats, they re-register, and then they're suddenly a Republican conservative. And so these are the kind of things we need to be paying attention to, because those people, and I'm not going to accuse every single one of them. I think there are people who genuinely want to leave the Democratic Party for legitimate reasons, but we've got other people who are actually doing it to sabotage the party and to make Republicans. In California, we've had this thing where in the California GOP, where there's a push to turn Republicans and conservatives into moderate Democrats. That's what I'm witnessing. That's what my opinion is they want to change Republicans into a moderate Democrat, basically, because the Democrats, that what we called blue dog Democrats, the moderate Democrats from the past, we'll call them Kennedy Democrats. They have been overrun by far leftist, Marxist, communist, And so I don't know, that's my observation. I'm not sure what your opinion is on that, but that's what I'm seeing in California.
Yeah, California is it's a bit of a crazy animal, right, to tackle, and that's why it's important for organizations like ours to,
Mhm.
spread the word and get out there and link arms with other organizations and fight for our beautiful state. We have a beautiful, beautiful state here, but we really need to take it back, and we really need to make it a place for our children's children to grow up. And that's one of the things. Is just generations to come are going to suffer from all of the things that have been going on especially the last 4 years, right? So
Mhm.
we need to step up our game and put boots on the ground and get people into organizations like ours, and then join forces with other organizations that are already existing as well, so that we can take this head on together.
Right. And, the church should be a very integral part of this process of being reactivated. And I think that the people on the far left, that's their biggest dread. That would be their
Hmm.
biggest fear, is that the church actually does rise up and get involved. And we should, during the Revolutionary War times, there was something called the Black Robed Regiment, and that the pastors or the preachers or the I'm not sure if you would call them bishops, but they would preach on, they would preach the gospel to the congregation. They had a black robe. Then they would remove their robe and go into battle with the civilians. They were the militia at the time. They were fighting against England, and that's how we won the war. And so, I don't want it to get to that point where we're using weapons to defend ourselves. I want to, the battle is a spiritual battle against darkness and light. I would like to see us fight on this platform before it gets much worse. I don't want it to get to that point where we have to use,
Absolutely.
that's not even something I want to think about. So it's time for the church, the people who say they love God. I mean, we have a voice, and the enemy, people on the far left, they want us to grow weary in doing good. And the Bible says, don't grow weary in doing good. So, it is up to us to, put our faith and trust in God. And we need to add feet to our faith, and we need to be pushing forward. And our motivation should be to protect our babies, our children. That should be our highest motivation.
Absolutely. And we need to stay Christ-centered, and that's the thing. We do need churches to stand up. I 100% agree with you. And there's a lot of churches that are not standing up, and they need to be. They need to be at the forefront of this movement. So it's very important to be Christ-centered.
I read it really opened my eyes, but it was in Revelation, and it was talking about something that God calls an abomination, and it's lacking courage. And
Mhm.
that shocked me when I read that recently. I think it was Revelation 22. And I thought, wow, we cannot be a people without courage. Why would we be people without courage when the God who created the heavens and the universe and the galaxies, plural, he made all of that? What do we have to fear? Like, God is more powerful. We have to allow the Holy Spirit to be residing within us, and just know that God is more powerful than all these world entities, all these people that want to destroy, really mankind, these globalists, these wicked people that have very evil intentions, not only for America, but, we see that world war is imminent. We see things happening even now as we're speaking, and it's very concerning. But you know what? It's groups like this that, you guys are doing the work. You guys are connecting with the communities. And so my hats are off to you all. Daniel, is there anything that you wanted to add?
Yes. A lot of church pulpits don't have proper information, and a lot of people don't know is that when President Trump, he's still president in my book, but when Trump was president, he took out what was called the Johnson Amendment. So
Mhm.
I don't know if you guys heard about that, but the Johnson Amendment which was passed by or signed by LBJ, Lyndon B. Johnson, to prohibit churches from speaking about politics or such things politic related. So thank God around 2017, 2018, President Trump took out the Johnson Amendment, which allowed churches to speak about politics, civic duty matters at hand. But the thing is that that's about, since LBJ has been about 30, 40 years, 50 years or so. So a lot of churches are not used to talking about politics at the pulpit. So, and because of that, a lot of people that go to church has gone soft. We Christians, we need to be warrior minded. We need to hear the truth. We need to know the truth and not be offended by the truth, but hold the truth as a sword.
That's right. Yes, I love that, Daniel. Yeah, and I always tell people when I go and speak places, God bless these people that are holding. They're the frontline people, and I'm going to be honest. I'm very blessed by you all because you're the younger generation. When I go and speak at these Republican events, I'm telling you, it's a sea of people that are like 55 and plus, and a lot of them are even, like in their 70s, 80s, and I think God bless them. They're really holding the line for the conservative movement. And it's like, this is every event that I go and speak to. And so I'm very blessed that you guys are activating the younger generation. And I want to link arms with you. And, I want to be part of what you all are doing. And there's several groups that, we, like you said, Nicole, we need, and Daniel, we need to be working together. We need to not be divided as a party. We need to not be self-centered. And this is not about us as individuals. This is about all of us collectively. And if we don't unite, if we don't do this, then we can very well lose a lot of our freedoms, our religious freedoms, and and worse. So
The freedom
I
to raise
believe
our children want.
sorry, Nicole. I believe
That's
it was
okay.
President Ronald Reagan that said that we're only one generation away from losing our freedoms, and we're and that's so true, especially in today's time. And by the way, Ceci, well, and you're right. When I go to these political meetings, I always see like these elderly people, and what I do, I go to them and tell them, "Thank you for holding the line for my generation to come here." And we're here, my generation. We're warriors. We're fed up with the lies from the school system. We're fed up with the lies from the government. So we're here to stay. We're here to fight.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. What were you going to add, Nicole?
No, I was just saying that I don't even remember exactly what I commented, to be
Sorry.
honest, but it's okay. Um, just that we believe that the government should stop interfering in how parents raise their children, and unless there is actual abuse taking place, and that we do stand firmly against the gender transitioning of children in the school system, which is what's happening. And we stand firmly against sexual exploitation and sexual grooming of children, either through pornographic materials that are in the schools, reading materials, through adults parading around them in explicit attire, drag queen story hours, just all of this crazy stuff that's going on in California. We are not standing for that. We are going to stand against that, and we're going to continue to fight to make sure that we save our children. If we save our children, we will save our state, because they're our future generation. These are going to be, our future doctors, lawyers, that just we have to raise really well-rounded children so that we can get through this.
And there's so many things that you just said, and one thought that comes to my mind is, there's a saying, so goes California, so goes the nation. And if you think about it, every very corrupt politician that is working in DC, many of them are coming out of California. And we do need to save the lives of our children. The school unions here in California across the nation are very, very powerful. But in California, we pour billions of dollars into the education system. And can I share with you that California is rating test score wise. We are
Oh, yeah.
40 out of 50 states, I think even maybe 49 at times. And so where's all this money going to? It's not going to educating our children, because the education they're receiving right now, and I can say the last 20 years, maybe longer, is not internationally rigorous. They are graduating our kids without the proper reading, writing, and math skills. And guess what? Technology is all based on mathematics. If our kids are not able to do math, advanced math, who's going to be running our technology for the military? You know, we need to think about that. That's a scary thought right there. We're going to have to recruit from out of the country, and you guys can take a wild gander which country would love to come in, infiltrate our military, and they already are. So this is very, very concerning.
It is. It's very concerning. We definitely need to get ahead of this. Now, I come from the school system. I worked for the school district for many years, and I've seen, everything. All you can imagine from the inside, the things that I've seen. So, I am a 100% advocate for homeschooling your children and pulling them out of the public school system, because they have been after our children for a very long time, and people just don't see that and haven't seen that for many years. And so you give them a little bit, and they continuously take a little bit before you know it. It's like, wow, we're not raising the same kids that we were raising 20 years ago,
And we see the evidence of this when there's lawlessness on the
Yes.
street. There's a mob when they're going into the
Mob
store.
mentality.
I'm sorry.
Mob mentality, like
Yeah,
they're going.
whether it's rallying, and then they're not even shy about being, some of them, about going on the streets and saying they're Nazis. I studied World War II when I was teaching my children, and in World War II, the Nazis were at least ashamed of what they did. They hid the fact of what they were doing, but this generation, they're not even ashamed to call themselves a Nazi. So that's one thing. And I don't know, Daniel, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, regarding the schools and what they're teaching, I graduated in 2009 right here in San Bernardino County in Montclair, California. And my last year I had a 4.0 GPA pre-calculus. I consider myself a smart kid. And I have a younger brother that recently graduated a couple months back, and he struggles real hard with his classes. And he's the class that suffered during the COVID pandemics, during the COVID lockdown. He was already struggling before the lockdowns, and during and then after the lockdowns. My little brother struggles so hard, so hard. And I took a look at his homework, his classwork. To to me, it wasn't even that hard work, but to him, he was struggling so hard to do it. And also regarding, I have three daughters, and my oldest daughter, for many years she was homeschooled because she has special needs. She's autistic. She's on the spectrum, and and then once it was time to put her in the school system, I I didn't want I still don't want her in there, but I'm gonna get her out, you know. But we struggle so hard. Me and their mother, we fought with the school district to get help for our older daughter. They did not want to help. They didn't want to give her the proper education because she's autistic. They don't want to spend the time with her, you know. The state of California says they pass so many laws and they give so many money to school for special needs. Where's the money at? Where's the money at? Is that the teacher's pocket? Is that at the teachers union pocket? Because my daughter doesn't get it, and
Yeah.
she's in school and she has special needs. And that's something I would love to ask Governor Newsom when I see him. Where's the money at for all these special needs kids?
It's
And
the first program that
Mhm.
gets docked. Whenever something's going on in the district, that's one of the first programs that they pull from. And so those kids don't, by far, don't get the education that they deserve. 100% they don't.
Let's see. I was going to say that homeschooling is and I know it's such an overwhelming thought for some parents. They think, I don't have a degree in education. How am I going to homeschool my children?
Mm-hmm.
But there are programs, and I'll just share one of my very favorite programs is called ABECA, and maybe we can add that to the link. But it's abeka.com. ABECA curriculum. I think they are based out of Florida, but they have a online schooling where you can actually be live with a real classroom and have a real teacher there, but you can watch online. That's one option. Another option is just textbooks that they send you. They can send you all the subjects, and anyway, but we kind of changed every year. We kind of adjusted the education, and the beauty of homeschooling is if you have a child that's advanced in one subject or all subjects, you can customize that child's education. If you have a child that's struggling in something, well, then you can kind of take a couple steps back and customize that education to to help that struggling student. But the public schools are geared towards kind of the middle range of all the kids, and it's a slippery slope. They're really I've talked to school principals, school teachers, and they're really not even allowed to fail kids and hold them back any longer. I mean, they literally are graduating them, passing them to the next level and they're not, I mean, this is with D's and F's, so I mean, what happened to the school system? They are failing. And I just feel like they truly don't care about our kids educationally. I think they're so fixated on sexualizing our kids and teaching them race divide and and teaching them how I don't agree. They teach how evil America is and that we're a racist country. And, they've watered down history. They've rewritten history. And, so this is how you destroy a nation. You destroy a nation by destroying their history, destroying their sovereignty, destroying their borders, and destroying the child themselves. Like if they don't even know what gender they are, in China, they have a TikTok. It's all educational. In America, it's all this nonsense. It's all this, pop star rap. Kids are being exposed to highly explicit content. So it's a totally different TikTok in America than in China. And, I always say in China, fifth graders are learning calculus and our kids don't know the difference between a man and a woman. This is a crying shame,
Yeah.
So
that's what they're teaching our kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's it's so crazy. I mean, just even having to have these conversations and thinking about this and having to fight to teach your kids correctly or, preserve their innocence. It's insane that we're even here at this point having these conversations.
And I always say that, and this is how I encourage parents. Honestly, the schools are failing so much that I say, you know what? Parents who love their kids can do a way better job in 3 hours than the public school system can in 6 to 8.
You don't even need that 6 to 8 hours. You don't even need all of that time. And not only that, but they're extending the time that they're staying there. They're doing extracurricular activity. And it's like by the time you see your kids, they have had them for 8, 9, 10 hours out of the day. And you get to see them, for dinner. Then they give them 2 hours of homework. And it's just like to strengthen the family unit, homeschooling is just such a better place to be. They're not like little prisoners sitting down in the chair for 6 hours and don't move and don't talk and don't chew gum and no, you can't go to the bathroom and no, you can't have a snack. It's like, no, you're at home, you're free. You can, you don't have to get up at 5 a.m. to get to school. And it just gives them a sense of freedom when you do homeschool them. And you're, like you said, you're able to address each child's strength and know that, and something that they're not going to get there at public school. They will not get that. And those public school systems are only as strong as we allow them to be, right? So the more we put our kids in there and the more we give them our children, the more they take. And we have to be stronger than that, because we can completely dismantle the public school system if everybody was on board with raising their own children instead of sending them over there.
You're right about that, Nicole. I heard publicschoolexit.com. Dran Reese is the founder. And I heard a quote from her. She said statistically that if 30 to 40% of parents will homeschool their children, that this could bankrupt the school unions overnight. And that's what I think they fear. They fear, and that's why there is an attack on homeschooling in the liberal states, is because there's a dollar amount that follows the child. That's why when a child's absent from public school, they're calling and calling and calling, and where's the student? Because if they're not there, that's money that they lose, and that's really, in my opinion, all they care about.
All they care about. They don't care about the education of the child, for sure.
I'm just gonna say, day one, that when I homeschooled, it was weird. Okay, my kids were.
Yeah.
It was an adjustment for all of us. And so it was funny because we lived, our backyard was adjacent to an elementary school. And so I remember the school bell would ring and my kids were still in their pajamas. And I'm like, okay, well, so it was an adjustment. Well, we finally got in the flow and we got it together. But, it is going to be strange the first year. I'm going to just tell parents that because but then, the thing is we would start, we would have devotion time in the morning, and then we would, I'd let them have their breakfast and all of that. We would start about 9. We would have the bulk of our homework done, our work done by noon or 1 in the afternoon. And then they would have enough energy to take music lessons. All 3 of my boys did baseball. They did Little League baseball. And then when they got in high school, they were able to join the local Christian schools that had baseball teams. And you know what? They were very socialized. My kids were actually over socialized. I had to pull the reins back on them because they wanted to go do this and go do that. But the blessing was they got so good in their musical skills that 2 of my sons, even to this day, they're in their 20s, serve in music ministry now. And so, they would do some math or, a writing assignment, and then they would, take a break, play piano or play their guitar. It was wonderful. I mean, it's work, it is work to do this. It is a financial sacrifice because I was not able to work full time. And we didn't drive brand new cars, we sacrificed financially, but I just tell people, if you ask God for help and if you can trust that, God will honor this decision for you to bring up your children, then you know what, he's going to help you. He'll make a way. And we did. And, you don't have to do homeschooling in the morning, like, normal. I mean, for some families, I know some families that did homeschooling towards the afternoon time, and you just arrange your schedule, the way that it fits your family's lifestyle.
Yeah, I do a couple hours during the day and a couple hours in the evening, and that's how we work it out, and it works well for us. And you're right. I mean, I get to see so many more strengths of my children. So my older children went to regular school, public school, and although they do have a lot of great qualities, they weren't able to I call my younger kids, like, they're just like social butterflies, right? Their personality is just out there, and I feel like they're just so intelligent, like they know so much about so much, right? But it's because they're able to, during the day, they're able to explore. My 7-year-old, she's able to, cook herself breakfast. She knows how to, do all these little things that my other kids weren't able to do at their young age. But you're right, the musical thing, my kids play the guitar, my daughter plays the piano. And so, yeah, it's a beautiful thing to be able to do that. And definitely I would never be able to do that without God's direction and, prayer. And just, that's why with LUCA, I'd love to educate people on how they can do that, even if they have to work full time, even if, they have that. So
It's attainable. This is attainable.
absolutely.
It's a lifestyle change, but if you're willing to do it, and it is different. But I'm just gonna say that when I had 2 kids in school, one let's see, one was in preschool, one was in elementary school. Well, just the schedule of that alone. So I'm just going to say the normal day of a public school parent and child is you get up early, you have to cook the breakfast. It's rush, rush, rush. You know, you're getting on your kid for not getting dressed in time, not waking up, brush your teeth. It's kind of like, you're just like a sergeant in the morning. And then finally you're driving your children to school, and you got to volunteer 2 to 3 times a week. Sometimes you're like a taxi cab driver, right? So by the time you get to the school, it's like how many hours have passed. You pay more for school clothes, school lunches, gas getting everywhere. Now you've got to, you got to donate to the schoolroom because teachers aren't paid enough and they don't have enough supplies. And it's like, by the time you go and pick up your child, it's, it's evening time. And now, it seems like the relationship's different because you're more a sergeant parent rather than a friend and during the day. And you're, and when you're homeschooling, you're honing their gifts. You're addressing, like you said, what are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? And you address that accordingly. And you're able to build up their, and I would tell my kids every day, you have a purpose in life.
Yes.
God created you specifically. You have a calling and a purpose. And I want to facilitate that. Homeschooling is not about keeping your kid in a bubble. It's it's a launching pad. This is where they're getting loved, nurtured, and educated. And then it's a launching pad into the real world. That's not so nice, not so great. But they will be equipped to deal with those things in life that, they were created to do.
Yeah, absolutely. They absolutely. I feel like my younger kids are a lot better equipped than I say my middle kids were, because my oldest is 27. So when he was younger, I mean, he had a great we had a great public school experience with him. He did amazing there. It's just that my kids that came after that is when the public school system started to, the Common Core math came out, and all of these things just started happening. And you're like, what in the world is going on with these school districts?
Common Core was the start, I think, of all of this.
Yes.
Schools failing. I remember hearing about that in the early 2000s. And I mean, talk about confusing math. And I think that too, because parents, the math was so confusing, the way that they set it up, that parents weren't even able to help their child at home for homework. I mean, even parents were themselves like, what in the world is this?
Yeah, but that's what they wanted. That was part of the entire thing, was to disconnect the parents from the kids.
Right. And I truly believe they dumbed education down. I mean, not just math,
absolutely,
but all subjects. They just dumbed it down. It's sad. It's just really sad.
Can you imagine to a kid's brain where, oh, my parents can't even help me with this. They don't even know anything about this. So just the thought of like, my parents don't know everything, or, my parents are not smart enough to know this. It's just something that they put into the kid's head, because you're right. We couldn't help them with that because we weren't taught that way. And this is not how we were educated. And this is not how we learned. And I'm sorry, but no matter what you do, 2 + 2 is 4. It's not 5, it's like,
and it's not
core math.
Yeah. Now math is racist,
it's like all this crazy stuff, but just basically putting it in your kid's head that you as a parent are not even equipped enough to do what they're doing. And so you must not know, all of these other things that you're trying to teach them. It's like, you must not know anything because you don't know this. And I feel like, at least for me, I can wear my crazy 10 hat all day long, but I feel like there is, there's a lot there with that Common Core stuff, because parents couldn't do anything, couldn't help their kids. And it really spoke volumes to how kids perceive their parents. Like you see your parents and you're like, well, my dad's Superman and my mom is Supermom. And then you find out that they can't do math or they can't help you with your homework. It's just kind of, I don't know, for me, when talking to my older kids, they would mention stuff like that, like, oh, mom can't even help us with our homework. Mom doesn't know this, mom doesn't know that. And it's like, okay, because that's what they wanted them to think. They didn't want them to think that their parents were able to be on their teacher's level, trust your teacher more than you trust your parents. But
Such a good point. Such a good point. Well, we're coming to the end of the time, and I just wanted to ask Daniel. If, we discussed a lot about homeschooling. Is there anything else you want to add? I mean, we also brought up border awareness, bills being passed, and school board.
Regarding homeschool, one state in the country tried to do this. So the state of New Hampshire, they tried to pass a bill where it required parents that wanted to homeschool their kids to go through a state level background check.
Oh,
and look, thank God it did not pass. But to me, that's ridiculous. That's garbage. Like, they already live in a house with their own kids. Why run a own background check? You know. So that's another attack that they're doing on homeschool, because the state, the governments, they want to take the kids away from the parents. They want to separate them.
right.
And with that being said, so with this background check, so what's going to happen to the parents that do not pass? The state's going to come and take away the kids, put them on a foster care system, put the parents on child support to pay for the kids in the foster system. All this is like a downward spot. It could go out of hand. It's a Pandora box that
It is
should
out of
not be
hand.
open.
Well, and that's what they're doing in California. They have passed bills in California
Yes.
that if you don't affirm your child's gender. I mean, let's be realistic. We've got XX and XY chromosomes. Let's just call it what it is. The real thing,
Yeah.
right? But they're wanting to kiss our children. Can you guys hear me still? Okay. Can you hear me still?
Yeah, you're going in and out a
I
little
think
bit.
we're out of time.
Yeah.
Going in and out. Okay. Well, so anyhow, but yeah, they want to remove children who don't affirm their child's gender, which the schools have confused them in the first place. So this is all orchestrated.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's for the purpose of dividing families, separating children from parents, and it's a very evil. It's very evil. So thank you guys for joining. This was a great conversation, and I appreciate you tremendously. We'll have you back on, and I think the next time we will include the founders of LUCA, which I'm very much looking forward to speaking with them as well. So you guys are amazing. Thank you for all of the work that you do. This is unpaid, but you guys do not get paid. All volunteer, because you love not only your own children and your families, but you love our state, our cities, and our nation. And I'm appreciative of the fight. Then we're all in this together.
Thank you, Ceci. I'd like to say that we are actively looking for patriots to join the LUCA organization. And anybody who would like to join the LUCA organization can get a hold of me on we're on Instagram. LUCA is on Instagram. We are on X. We are on TikTok and Facebook. Can also get a hold of Daniel through his Instagram, me through my Instagram, and yeah, we're actively looking for patriots to join our organization.
I will be sure to tag you guys and put the information so that people can locate you and join, link arms with you all.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ceci, for your time.
And thank you, Ceci, for having us. And for all the listeners out there, to find me on Instagram is fairly easy. It's official, my first, last name, and last name. So it's official Daniel Silvas. And again, thank you for having us, Ceci. And we're gonna keep fighting. We're gonna keep fighting this good fight, because it's for everybody.
That's right. That's right. And God sees what we do. He'll honor what we do. And we just like I said earlier, let's not grow weary in doing good. And we are to be the light and the salt of the earth. What good is a light if it's hidden under a basket? We're to let our light shine. The light gets brighter and the darker things get. And so we're not to lose heart in that. We just, keep our eyes on God and just keep moving forward.
Amen.
Amen.
It's contagious, right?
Yes.
All right. Well, God bless you all. We will see you again soon. And I will see you out and about. We will be boots on the ground in our community. So
yes. Thank you.
Look forward to working with you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
God bless.
God
God
bless.
bless.
Bye.